This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Maislingen. Before that, this video is brought to you by Donald Smart and Darren Manville. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Maislingen map can be found at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Let's read some of the description. Welcome to Maislingen. Located in the northeastern part of Westphalia, there is the last hills of the Midland Mountains. Here are several farms. As a farm manager, choose one or play with other farmers to manage several productions and meet the demands of the Maislingen's economy. This map includes 87 purchasable farmlands, 74 fields, medium to small, 2 big logging areas, several selling stations, several productions, small starting farm, a large dairy farm, organic farm, contractor area, building site, and collectibles. Now this map also has some required mods. Those required mods are the Old Farm Package, Cowshed 3+0, Dutch Shed Pack, Modern Shed, Machinery Shed, Farmhouse Pack, Pig Shed, and Farmhouse Package Volume 2. Now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and load on into the map. Now in addition to the required mods, we are going to be making use of the mods we typically use when we look at maps. That is additional field info, additional game settings, animal food overview, field lease, field calculator, precision farming, and straw harvest. We'll tell you, if you load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, you'll find the main farm is built out exactly how you see it here in new farmer mode. In addition, you do not own the land, nor do you have any starting machinery in those alternate game modes. Now, with respect to loading this map on a low-end system, I did use my low-end system that has integrated graphics, and I did find that when I loaded it into the map facing this direction, my system was only able to achieve approximately 40 frames per second. Now, if I rotated my view in any real direction, as soon as I wasn't looking completely down toward the rest of the main farm, I was able to achieve a full 60 frames per second. Looking in much any other direction, I do believe that the frame rate will suffer on this map on a low-end system if you are facing several trees. So just be aware, depending on how dense the foliage is and dense the trees are in any one different direction, you may find your frame rates are suffering a little bit. Let's go and take a look at the PDA. Now, while the description said this map included small to medium fields, I have to feel that this map really includes small, medium, and large fields, because these fields up here to the north are fairly large, especially compared to the smaller fields down here to the south or over here to the east. We do have all the standard crops available to us here on Farm Sim 22 available on the map, including the premium expansion crops of red beets, carrots, and parsnips if you have that enabled. We have 4 main farms available on this map and a construction site. Go and take a look at our lands overview. You'll see we start off with the starting farm at Farmland ID 75. That can be bought in any alternate game mode for $36,840. That is an arable farm. And then we also have another arable farm here at Farmland ID 76. That again can be bought for $71,540. We have a cow farm at Farmland ID 77. That can be bought for $119,000. And we have a cow, pig, and chicken farm at Farmland ID 78. That can be bought for $109,000. We do have a buildable site at Farmland ID 79 that can be bought for $33,000. Let's go and take a look at our farmland lease screen. This is going to show us all of the viable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any field or fields, what is included, and lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost us. You see that all of these farmland numbers are lining up with the field numbers all the way up to Farmland ID 74, which is always a good thing to see. And we have fields ranging from less than 1 hectare all the way up to 12 hectares in size. take a look at our field calculator screen, we can now see the sizes of each particular field. And then if we go ahead and take a look at our precision farming soil map, this map is making use of the of the Alpine soil map that is a part of the precision farming mod. So let's go ahead and see how that is being applied to these fields. To the south, we have a mix of loamy sand and sandy loam. To the north, we get a little bit of loam mixed into the loamy and sandy loam. To the far east, extreme north, and just right here by the starting farm, we do have a little bit of silty clay being mixed in as well. Taking a look at our crop counter, we do have what appears to be the standard base game crop counter available to us on this map. And making a look down through our prices screen, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game crops. In addition, we do have the ability to sell our eggs, wool, and milk, and our silage, hay, straw, and grass. With respect to base game production items, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of the base game production items that are once again available to us here on this map. We do have the ability to buy bulk lime at 2 different locations, and we do not have the ability of getting rid of our stones. So if you do play with stones enabled, you will need to put down your own stone processor or sell point. With respect to our farm production pack, we do not have the ability to sell any of the washed vegetables. And with respect to the platinum expansion production items, we do not have the ability to sell any of the platinum expansion production items either. Now, we do have the ability to sell our premium expansion crops and production items. If you are playing with pumps and hoses, we do have the ability of getting rid of our separated manure. And then lastly, if you are playing with straw harvest, we do have the ability of selling our hay and straw pellets. As far as our starting machinery goes, we own all of our starting machinery. None of it is leased and is all well maintained. We do not have any animal pens at the main starting farm. We do have contracts available on this map, and we also own a single large greenhouse. Now, there are 5 other large greenhouses also available on this map, all tied at different locations of different farms. Then lastly, this map does make use of the 20 Pulp Betheroon game cartridges as far as their collectibles. Let's go and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the Claas Arion 630 small tractor, as well as the Fendt Vario 313 and Farret 515C. We have the Dutzfar Topliner 4090H harvester that is paired up with the 4090H grain header and the 4090H header trailer. We've got the Rudolph TDK 301 RP trailer and the Welger DK115 trailer, the Agromaz POV5 XL plow, as well as a Horsch Carino 3FX cultivator. We've got the Amazon KG3001 Super Power Harrow that is paired up with the 3000 Super Seeder from Amazon as well. We have the Breedel K105 Lime and Solid Fertilizer Spreader, the Impress 125F Pro Round Baler from Pottinger. We have then the Aquatrans 7300S Joskins water trailer. We have the Q4M front loader arms, and for the front loader, we have a pallet fork and a bell spike. And then we wrap it all up with a 1500, 750, and 600 kilogram front weight. Now, with respect to mods and DLCs, this map does not have any custom vehicles or implements. With respect to our starting farm, we have our farmhouse here on the left as we come in. We do have a sleep trigger just under this rooftop. Continuing down the lane, we have our large greenhouse. So our water trigger, interactive icon, and pallet spawn point. Now, you may find yourself a little difficult in getting your pallets out of the spawn point unless you come in at this side because of these planters. Rest assured, you can sell these planters if you wish, because you know what? Everything at all of these farms can be sold. So the farms are completely and totally customizable. In this shed, we have 2 of our tractors. Then our last tractor is located in this shed, as well as our front loader arms. Got another nice building here with some machinery, as well as a couple bags of fertilizer and lime. We have our base game silo, dump, and fill point. We have a maintenance trigger located inside of this shed, marked off with these 4 cones. And then lastly, we have a bale and pallet storage building located here at the starting farm. Now, just south and a little west to the starting farm, we have our second arable farm at Farmland ID 76. So we have our farmhouse sleep trigger. And then if we come down the road a little bit, we'll have the lane into our farm. Here we have a large machine shed. Here we have another building with a maintenance trigger and the area marked off for that. We have our base game silo, dump, and fill point for this farm. Large open shed, and then another bale and pallet storage. Now, if we make our way southeast, just south of field 10, which is one of the fields that we own at the start in New Farmer mode, we're going to find our third farm, which is going to be a cow farm at Farmland ID 77. Here we have our sleep trigger and our farmhouse. Another maintenance trigger building located right here. Another large storage building for machinery and implements. Now, this particular farm has 3 large greenhouses. Then we have our cattle building. So we have our delivery point for our cattle. 80 cows in total can go into this facility. We have our fill point for our milk. We have our dump point for our straw and food. Then we have our slurry trigger. Continuing, we have our base game silo. And we have another set of bale and pallet storage buildings. So the first 2 farms we looked at, we had 1 bale and pallet storage building. This farm has 2. Now let's make our way to the north for the last farm, which is a cow, pig, and chicken farm located just west of field 60. As we enter the farm here, we have our chicken coop. So we have our food trough, 30 chickens, not 360, 30 chickens. We have our egg point. Continuing up the lane, we do have our farmhouse located right here. So we have our sleep trigger. We have another 2 greenhouses located at this farm. Another maintenance building. We have our pig area for 170 pigs. Our food trough and our slurry point. Another bale and pallet storage building. We have our grain dump and fill point here for our farm silo. And then we have our cow building. So we have a milk trigger. Another 80 cows are going to go in here. With our food and straw trigger. And then our slurry point. Then lastly, we have yet another bale and pallet storage building here at this farm. So both cow farms have 2 bale and pallet storage buildings. Then we have a large shed here for our vehicles and implements. And that is basically a tour of all 4 farms. Again, everything at all 4 of these farms can be sold, so you can completely clear out these farm areas and build a new should you so wish. Now, speaking of building anew, there is a buildable site located down here just south of Field 61. It is located right here. That is, as I said earlier, Farmland ID 79. And while we have some containers and some other random junk located down here, if you do own this, you can sell the items here at this particular area. We're just going to hit sell, and off it goes. $125,000 later, we have ourselves a nice, clear building site. Now, before we move on with the flyover, I do want to take a look at our landscaping ground textures. We do have a few custom ground textures that have been added to this particular map. With respect to plants, we do have a couple custom plants. We've got some conifer, daylily, bushes, galore, and then as far as trees, we have some fairly standard trees as well. We have young American elms, small elm, medium elms, pagodas. So it looks like a lot of these are trees from all of the other base game maps. Now, as far as the rest of the build mode, there are those 8 required mods, and most of those 8 required mods are placeable buildings. Therefore, they are listed throughout the entirety of the build mode. I didn't see any other custom buildings or vehicles that were tied just to this map itself. So here we are at our starting farm, and I want to come ahead and come back to this location for our fly around, because we do have a fairly large amount of things right here central to the town that kind of encompasses the starting farm and the other arable farm. So just to the west of our starting farm, we do have a grocery sell point located right here. We have our dealer trigger located right here. And our dealer activation icon. Let's go ahead and pick our Mahindra up. So our vehicles and implements are going to spawn here in the back. Fairly large area for those vehicles and implements to spawn. We have another little sell point here at this football field. We have an electrical charging station located right here. Our spinnery, base game spinnery. So we have our dump point, house spawn point, and interactive point. We have a restaurant sell point. And then here we have the second arable farm. Then just to the east of the second arable farm, we have a farmer's market sell point. We have a bakery. Making our way to the eastern side of the map, we're going to find we have some more production and sell points. Overall, this map has 13 productions built in. They include a dairy, a cereal, grain mill, bakery, spinnery, carpentry, sawmill, and 6 large greenhouses. So here we have our dairy. We have our cereal factory, as well as our grain mill and our animal dealer. we have animal dealer sell point. Right beside the build mode or build site, we have another sell point in the garden center. Here we have our carpentry production. So with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such, we are going to give the map a full point because, again, we have 13 productions built in. With respect to the ability to sell all of our base game crops, animal outputs, and production points, we are once again also going to give the map a full point there as well. And then we are going to give a full point with respect to the ability to sell all of your vehicles, not buildings, sorry, not vehicles, all of your items at the starting farm and all of the other farms as well. Got a little bit of a campground over here, north of a lake to the northwest corner of the map. That is going to be a sell point. Another sell point at this particular location. Making our way down the western side of the map. We have a large grain sell point here by the river. The lime buy point. And then this is set up to act as a silo. A train silo. Let me go back and look at this real quick. So the trigger on the front and the trigger on the back, well, they appear, they are basically, they're set up as a train silo, but we don't have a train per se on this map. We have a river, but we do not have like a rent boat icon in order to call the boat down the river in order to sell off map. So that's kind of a little confusing, but this is basically set up as a train silo for dumping and storing crops. We have our sawmill, so we have our dump point and wood cell trigger. We have our interactive icon and our pallet spawn point. From the back, we have our wood chip fill point. And that pretty much is this map, everybody. Now, with respect to buildings where purposely are using the new texturing technique, you're going to be giving the map a full point there. And we're also going to give the map a full point with respect to triggering interactive areas being clearly marked. Maybe we should take a little bit off with the confusion of the silo there by the river. But I think overall, it's going to be pretty straightforward once you put product in there. That one, you're not selling it, and two, you're going to be able to pull it back out. So that's going to give this map a score of 5 out of 5. Not very often do we see these 5 out of 5 maps, but quite frankly, and personally, I feel like every map should be a 5 out of 5 because I don't think it's too much to ask that every map be able to incorporate the functions and features of Farming Simulator 22. And until next time, happy farming!